Shalom, friends. Welcome to another shiur in Derech Hashem. I'm Eliyahu Shir from Chesed Ve'emet, www.lovingkindness.co. We're studying from the third section of Derech Hashem, written by the Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe who lived from 1707 to 1747. And we're on section 3, dealing with the soul and divine inspiration and prophecy, some very beautiful subjects. We're in fact on the very last section, section number 5 of section number 3. And we're right at the end, and maybe we'll even get through the last part that we have to do and conclude this entire section today. It's a fascinating section. We're speaking about how prophecy works. And in particular, we're speaking about how prophecy differs from Moshe, of Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our teacher. What type of prophecy did he have in comparison to the prophecy of the general prophets? What made him stand out as a prophet? How did his prophecy differ from all the other prophets? And we said in general that when the prophets received their prophecy, what would happen is they would go into the state of a dreamlike vision. It could last a second, it could last 10 seconds. Why did it last the period of time that it lasted for? I have no idea. Why would one prophet experience prophecy over a 10-second period or a minute or 5 minutes or 10 minutes? What was going on during this period? And why did they even need this amount of time if it could be that they could experience great amounts of information within just a second or two? Why do you need a longer prophecy? I don't know the answer to that question. But anyway, when the prophecy came to them, they would see it through an aspacularia, a lens, a type of a mirror, which was aspacularia shelo nehira. It wasn't a clear lens either. It was kind of blurry. And more than that, it was in a way that lenses would refract, or the mirror would refract or reflect from one mirror to the next, breaking up, splitting apart, being seen in one mirror from the next to the next. Ultimately, what the prophet was looking at was kind of like he knew he was seeing the vision. But unfortunately, it could be a bit blurry, and it could be that it was because of the direction he was looking at, he didn't see it perfectly. But he knew that he was seeing a vision, and he knew that this was God appearing to him, giving him a prophecy that he would be able to relate over. But it was kind of like you could also imagine, when you tune in to a channel on the radio. Let's go back in time when we had manual radios. We're tuning into the station, and as we tuned in, you would hear this, then you would kind of hear some speech in the background. You weren't quite tuned in properly yet, and then as you tuned in perfectly, boom, all the noise disappeared, and you could actually hear what the broadcaster was saying. Well, this is the same type of idea also to a certain degree, comparing senses, the sense of sight and the sense of hearing. In the sense of hearing, we're speaking about an idea of when we tune into the channel on the radio, that we hear this distorted noise in the background, and eventually when we get logged in perfectly, we tune in, all the noise is removed, and we can actually hear the channel itself. So to a certain degree, when we talk about the mirrors reflecting or refracting, depending on what's happening, the same type of idea is happening with the prophet, is that he's tuned in and he knows what's going on, but it's kind of a bit distorted slightly. Now we're going to come and see about how Moshe worked in comparison to all of this. And all of this that we're speaking about with the prophets, there are many levels. There's one level, differences from one prophet to the next, depending on his level of kedusha, of holiness, depending on how he had refined himself and connected with Hashem. He's going to experience a different vision. As we discussed before, for those who have followed these shiurim in Derech Hashem, that no two prophets prophesy in the same way. The prophets are experiencing their prophecies, and they're going to speak over their experiences in different ways. They see things in different ways simply because their souls are different. And no two prophets are going to see and express their prophecy in the same way as the other one does. You have, for example, one prophet whose lens is pure, is more pure, Mishal Chaveiro, than his friend. He can see the image a lot clearer. Let's take, for example, again, I'm wearing glasses. Probably most people in the world today have some sort of a vision problem, and they wear glasses. Well, if you don't know how to clean your lenses nicely, sometimes it can be most frustrating when we look through the lenses and we kind of see this blotch, this blurry mark sitting right in the front because we touched it with our fingers. And the only way out, of course, is to clean the lens. And if you don't do it, you can see the image in front, but unfortunately it looks a bit dirty, sometimes a bit distorted. It's most frustrating. Well, these are the experiences that the prophets would have as well. So sometimes you would have that the lens was clearer. And he was able to attain this image that he was going to see much clearer. Now, the prophet who experiences this particular prophecy is able to grasp the whole matter perfectly true. Lamito. He gets it 100% correct. Which means, it becomes very clear by him that is revealing itself and making itself known to him is who it is the creator of the world, may be blessed. And he is able to grasp this matter of the lens of this whole vision, of the whole vision really, that he is seeing in its existence. And its secrets. He knows what's going on. And he's able then to grasp and intellectualize. He can understand what's going on. All of the lessons that are being shown to him, that are flowing to him, the emet, in truth. And clearly, as I wrote above in Perek Gimel, as we learned above in chapter 3. Indeed, just as it is that the honor of Hashem becomes known to this person, who comes about through all of these different visions that he experiences. So too all of the knowledge, the information comes to him. Everything comes to him in a way of puzzles and examples, parables, and in a way of a dream, which is the middle point. And in this all comes about through the prophecy and reaches this person through all of these ways, reaches this prophet, and he experiences the prophecy. Fine. Nevuas Moshe, and now we get to the crux of the matter. The prophecy of Moshe. Ach nevuas shel Moshe. When we speak about the prophecy of Moshe, the prophecy of Moshe is much more superior than all of this. Moshe sees his vision in a completely different way to everybody else. And that's what makes him stand out from everybody else. And it comes about in a way that he doesn't have to get himself out of his senses and through his feelings. And in fact, he doesn't have to dream anything at all. But rather, the prophecy would reach him while he was still completely in all of his faculties, completely normal. Moshe Rabbeinu was experiencing prophecy like a person speaking to his friend. He didn't fall into a trance. He didn't have to experience a dream. He didn't have any of this. You know, many people go and see certain individuals who claim to know the future, and they can tell you all sorts of things about your life. And people go and see these individuals, and they begin to start shaking, and they start rolling their eyes back into their heads, and they show you the white of their eyes as they're doing so, and they do all sorts of crazy things. And most of it, of course, would be for show, and because they want to show off that they're able to see certain things. Mostly they're not really seeing, and if they are seeing, it's highly unlikely that they're seeing the truth and that they're seeing the real spirituality stripped away completely from all of the klipot that are surrounding this particular vision that they might be having in any case. But in the meantime, they think that by shaking and all that, it makes them greater. And people will see them as greater because now they're shaking. Well, the prophets, who we spoke about before, might have experienced this type of a thing where they kind of shook and perhaps collapsed now and fell into a deep dream-like trance and then they began to envision their prophecy. But the greater prophet is not the one who was jumping about and then fell into a trance. The greater prophet was Moshe Rabbeinu. And why was he greater? Because he never fell into a trance. Because he was completely one with his soul and his body. His soul and his body were both experiencing the vision together. And on the level of holiness that he was, he never had to fall into a trance. It wasn't as if he was jumping and leaping off the physical world in order to experience spirituality and he had to fall into a deep trance. But rather, he was so holy that his soul and body were one with the mystical experience all the time. And therefore, when he experienced his prophecy, he never had to fall into this type of dreamlike trance where his body was shaking, as we spoke about. He was completely into his senses in a normal way. As he says, in his ordinary condition. And this is what it says, that mouth to mouth, Adaber bo, I will speak to him, said Hashem. And he would reveal himself to him, the whole thing would happen. It was as if he was seeing it through only one lens. And the lens itself was pure, clean, no blurry blotches, no marks. Moshe Rabbeinu would envision his vision as if he was looking at one mirror. He saw it clearly in front of him. No dirt, no blotchy marks, no blurry lines, nothing. And so too, all of the information that was passed to him arrived to him, but biruram, in a clear manner. And it didn't come about through all sorts of puzzles and secret ideas and mishalim and parables and stories. And he knew exactly what he was seeing. It was so clear to him that he could tell over what he was seeing as if he saw it with his own physical eyes, which of course he did. But the other prophets were not able to see it with their physical eyes because their bodies were not capable of holding on to that spiritual power that they were envisioning. And as a result of that, they fell into a trance. That's the only way they could experience it. But Moshe was completely with his senses. It was all one to him. And when he experienced the vision, he was seeing it as if he was seeing it in the physical world itself. And that's what it says. It means that he saw it in a sighting, in a vision. And he didn't see it in a way of puzzles, difficulties, trying to work out what exactly was it that he saw. Oh, it was this that represented that probably represented this other thing, and therefore the vision is telling us such and such. However, also the honor revealed itself in accordance with what it was that he was able to accept. We need to say a man, a human being, can only receive a certain amount of flux, a certain amount of power that comes down into this world. Of course, if Hashem reveals himself to any human being, he'll die on the spot. And for that reason, God cannot reveal himself to us. Now, Moshe could accept the highest level of revelation of God, but only in terms of a human being receiving it. He still could not receive the fullness of God. That's like the sun, looking at the sun with our eyes. We can't look at the sun with our eyes. But if people have stronger eyes, they could look at the sun with lesser protection, and they could see more of the sun. Moshe Rabbeinu could see the sun, inverted commas, so to speak, God, with the least amount of protection on his eyes. But still, everything still had to be in accordance with how much he could still receive. If it was any more than that, he would have expired on the spot. And it was like something that in a vision would be seen in this particular thing that he was seeing. Because without this, it's impossible for a person that he can grasp his creator. But it happened in a way that at least that this whole vision that he saw, this image, came about that he could grasp it entirely, and clearly, and it came about in a way like a lens, which was nice and clean, polished lens. That's even a better translation to say. It's a polished lens. Ume'ira, and it's clear. She'eni kuv liroto, and there's nothing that stops from seeing what the image was inside this beautiful lens. V'al ze ne'emar, and on this it says, Utnumas Hashem yabit, and the image of Hashem he will see, ki oiso hatziyura mitztayer, because this particular sighting, this picture that he forms, shehu hatzmunah, which is the picture, hayama bitoto yafe yafe, he's able to see it really, really well. Mashe'en kain she'ara nevi'im, which is not the case with the other prophets. She'afilu oiso hatziyur lo haya efshar lahem sheyamdu alav, that with regards to all the other prophets, they were not able to see this picture. When we speak about even this picture, that whatever it was that they were looking at, it wasn't possible for them to stand over it, to be able to see the vision heitev well. And from this vision, this picture that he saw, shehaya masig, that he was able to grasp, haya maskil haskala gedola, he was able to understand it very, very well. Uberura, and clearly, מאוד יותר, very, very much, יותר מכל שאר הנביאים, וכמו שכתבתי. And he says that with regards to Moshe, even though other people might not have been able to vision what it was that he was able to see, nevertheless, he was able to see it more so than all the other prophets. So we're speaking about the idea that Moshe is visioning something to a higher degree than the other prophets. And everything is in accordance with the level of soul level to body that Moshe can accept from God. The light is illuminating itself, is giving power, and there is this flux of light and energy that he can grasp and understand, limited by whatever it is that he's limited to. But nevertheless, he still sees it in a way that is pure, that is polished, that is clean, it's not blurry, and so on and so forth. Okay, I see that we weren't able to complete it, but it's not a problem. Mizras Hashem will complete it in the next shiur. We reached the end of this shiur. Now, thank you very much for joining me. Again, I'm Eliyahu Sher from Chesed Ve'emet, www.lovingkindness.co. If you've enjoyed this shiur, please like my video and subscribe to my channel. Click on the bell button to be notified of future shiurim. Please feel free to be in touch with me by visiting my site and sending me an email. I'll be delighted to be in touch with you about any subject of life, of Torah, anything meaningful. Let's get together and speak about it and learn what we can from each other. Of course, if you'd like to join a shiur with us, either here as we're doing live, or alternatively to join a private shiur, please be in touch with me and I'll be delighted to give over a shiur to you in any subject of Torah. We'll work through the material and get to learn whatever it is that we're able to learn together. Please share this video with your friends and family. Help us to get this video out there. We would like to share more Torah. We need your support. The only support that we have is you. And whatever you do to help us and take part in the activities that we're involved in, that allows us to continue to do the things that we're doing, to give over these shiurim, make them available, and to give over even more of ourselves. So please join us, partner with us, see what we're doing. We'd be delighted to partner with you and do even more. In the meantime, I say thank you very much for joining me. I wish you everything of the best. Looking forward to another shiur soon. And shalom, shalom. Bye-bye.